Hello, this is Rachel at Bluff Lake Nature Center coming at you with your next video. This one is all about prairie dogs. So prairie dogs are one of the most common animals that you might see when you visit Bluff Lake because they love to be out and active, and so they're very visible. They are a keystone species in Colorado, which means that they are depended upon by a lot of other animals in the food chain and in their habitat. They live in family groups, and those family groups then live in larger groups that are called colonies. The family groups live in burrows that are underground, and I'm going to show you a picture of what one of these burrows looks like. So this is what their underground burrows and tunnels look like. You can see that they are pretty complicated. They've got bedrooms, nurseries, the place where they store their food, and one of the best things about them is that they have multiple entrances and exits. And this is because if one of their exits gets blocked because of a predator or somebody stepping on their hole, they'll have another escape route. So they are one of the great engineers of the animal kingdom because they can dig these burrows. And I said before that they were a keystone species, and part of the reason is because a lot of other animals use these burrows after they've been abandoned by prairie dogs. So those animals include rabbits and snakes and burrowing owls and all kinds of insects and spiders as well. Prairie dogs have a very complex language that scientists have studied and discovered that the different noises that they make represent different things, like hawk flying in the air or a group of second graders is coming towards us. And these calls that they make to each other alert all of the other prairie dogs when there is a predator nearby. They have a warning dog who sits on the top of one of their entrance mounds, and he's the one that's in charge of sending out the call to the rest of the colony. So sometimes you might notice if you approach a prairie dog colony that you'll be able to see a bunch of them in the distance, but then the one closest to you will start chirping and making a bunch of noise, and all of his family will go underground. And then the next warning dog in the next family group will hear that chirp and start chirping, and so the message gets passed along. They like to be on flat ground, like in prairies, so that they can see a far distance away when they're standing on top of their mounds. They eat a lot of things like grasses and seeds and roots, and if they're really desperate, they might eat some bugs. And they are very adaptable in that they can change their diet based on their habitat. They can live on the side of highways. They don't mind the noise. They are pretty used to living around humans. And that's partially because humans have taken up pretty much all of their habitat in Colorado, and we've pushed them and condensed them into these small little pockets. So they've had to adjust and adapt, which is pretty remarkable. They have litters of 1 to 8 pups per year. And one of the really cool things about prairie dogs is that when you go and you look at their colony, you can see all different kinds of signs of their activity. So if you go and you look at one of the prairie dog holes, you can look for things like footprints, like you see on the left here. You can look for things like poop, and if it looks like fresh poop or not fresh poop, you can look and see if the dirt has been freshly dug up. And those are all ways that you can tell if it's an active hole or not active hole. Thanks.